Okay, welcome to the video. So this is going to be most likely my last major decode I'll put out. Uh, I will, if I decode some more things, it'll probably just be in a small post, but as I foresee, this is probably going to be the last major decode I'll make. And I don't believe that this decode is going to be relevant to the church. I believe the church will be gone before this becomes relevant. As you'll see in the video, the last day I'm predicting for this event to possibly happen would be the 7th, which afterwards will essentially become an impossibility for a little while. So I don't foresee this event, which I'll cover, being relevant to the church. I think it'll be more so for tribulation saints. But I do recommend you watch this video as it'll still be just interesting, just for the sake of the knowledge. All right, Shiloh, sit down. Good boy. Thanks for featuring in the video. Okay, so before I begin here, I'll just read a quick and simple gospel. John chapter 3, verse 16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. And that's all you have to do. All you have to do is believe in him. It doesn't matter how good of a person you've been in your life, or how often you've gone to church, or given to charity. Everyone sins, and our only salvation for those sins is through his sacrifice on the cross and believing in him. That's the only way. He is the narrow gate. It doesn't matter if this is before the tribulation or after the tribulation. There is no matter what anyone tells you, there is no timeline on this promise. This promise will always be there. If you believe in him, you're saved, and there's nothing that you can do to be unsaved. It's a free gift. You just have to accept it. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to be looking at here is this scene, and it's going to go up until, let's move forward a little bit here, this and the lily blooms. That's essentially the time we're going to be covering. As I believe in iPad Go, this is probably the most important scene that they have throughout probably the entire thing, because it has the most tangible markers of time, whereas like the rest of the video is kind of like a fever dream. This has like very, very tangible markers in time, as I'll show you. So just to start this off here, what they're showing you here is the October 2nd, 2024 solar eclipse, which was a wedding ring solar eclipse. So I'll just pull that up here. So on Wednesday, October 2nd, 2024, an annular solar eclipse will occur when the moon when the moon passes between Earth and the Sun. This will create a ring of fire effect in the sky. And being on October 2nd, 2024, this also coincided with Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish festival, which is also the Feast of Trumpets. So those coincided, so that'll be important here. So if you'll notice here, the girl here her name's Lily, I think, according to the creators of this video, and anyone, and in the enemy symbolism, anyone named like Rose, Lily, anything after a flower generally represents the church or the believers. So she represents the church and the believers, but also I believe she represents the constellation of Virgo, the woman, which we'll cover. But the first thing we're going to cover here is, let's get this thing out of the way a little. So you have this ring of what it looks like honey. So this is, I believe it's honey. This is representing the solar eclipse here. And then she's holding the apple. So that is our nod to Rosh Hashanah. So there's the apple, the honey. That's pretty well like the foods they eat during that festival. Shiloh, sit. Relax, man. Down. Okay, where was I here? So other things I'm just gonna make a note of within this scene is you have the buck back here, which represents Adar, which is I believe the time frame of the departure of the church. So I'll just pull this up here. So there's your month of Adar, which is the 12th month on the Jewish calendar, and represented by the buck. So there's your hint as to the departure of the church. And then back here you have the buck rabbit with what appears to be a bullet hole in the ear, and I'm sure you can have a pretty good idea what that's representing. And just surrounding her here, you have what appears to be 12 moons on a calendar year. I believe it's the Julian calendar because the Julian calendar had a blue moon, a blue wolf moon in January, which is that right there, the two guys with a conjoined head. And then this guy has a bit of a red shade on him, so I'm assuming that's the blood moon. So this would make sense if this is like the current Julian calendar year they're showing you here. It's kind of like a play on Revelation 12 sign, which is, I'll pull that up right now. Let's go to that verse. So this is probably going to be a longer video, so get your teas, get your coffees. Let's go, Revelation 12. Okay, and there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. So this is essentially like the enemy's version of like the Revelation 12 sign. It's yeah, it's kind of like a mockery, but that's their thing. But yeah, so another thing too is like this is very interesting, but the kind of path of the totality of the eclipse is the exact same shape of her hair. You can look that up. I'm not going to look that up in this video, but if you look up the path of the eclipse, it's the exact same as that. And then you have like the rose here, I guess, just kind of like showing you again, this is a believer. But yeah, so we'll get to the important stuff here. So everything dims down, and so I should mention the eclipse also occurred. It reached its most completion in terms of the eclipse over Easter Island, which I believe is in South America, somewhere around there. But the rabbit here still being lit up, even though everything else darkened. That's your hint to the Easter Island reference. And then you had the exit door back here, and it's lit up with blood. Or sorry, it's lit up with red, which is your hint to the blood moon, which is your March 14th blood moon. Which, if you've watched the rest of my videos, I'm pretty well positive that's the date of the departure of the church. So that's what's happening there. And then she drops the apple and it rolls. So we'll pause here for a moment just to pull up Stellarium. So right now we're on October 2nd, 2024. And we have the constellation of Virgo here, and then you have what's about to be the eclipse here. So you have the moon passing in front of the sun, and you can see that right there. But another thing you'll notice here is Mercury. I'll just zoom in here. So Mercury is right there as well. So what I believe is being shown here, I'll just back it up a little bit, is the apple that she's holding is representing Mercury. So when the eclipse happened, Mercury was right there. So this is Mercury. As well, I believe the apple also represents Israel, as there is a verse in the Bible where Israel is referred to the apple of his eye, which is referring to God. So Israel is the apple of God's eye. So that'll be important here. Okay. So she drops the apple here, and the apple travels across the floor, and then it hits, let's call him O-Man. It hits O-Man's shoe, and there's a C and a 7 here, and then the apple splits open. And there is a lily, which I believe the lily fleur-de-lis is representative of the Antichrist, the rise or the birth of the Antichrist. So I believe what you're being shown here is the division of Israel in a two-state solution, and then the birth of the Antichrist here. So anyone who's currently watching these videos around the 6th and the 7th, you can see how this is kind of this would be a very a stretch to think that this is going to happen in the next couple days, because I'll just go to my timeline real quick. Shiloh, come here, sit down. You relax, man. We're just making a video. So this is kind of the timeline I have right now. The orange is the events which I'm pretty well solid on happening on those dates. So we have March 8th, Nebuchadnezzar falls off his stump. If you've watched the rest of my videos, you'll know who this is referring to. Then March 16th, Flight 77 takes off. That's the departure of the church. And then 3:17, you have part 2 of 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 3, which is the sudden destruction. So given that the 7th or perhaps part of the 8th is the last day I reasonably foresee a two-state solution, I think it's a very big stretch. So I really don't think that's going to happen tomorrow. Of course, literally anything could happen with how fast things are moving and how volatile everything is. But I really don't think we're going to see that division of Israel tomorrow or Saturday. And then the birth of the AC. Although I could be wrong, I'm still going to post this video anyway, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think that's something, the kind of order out of chaos and the rise of the Antichrist and the division of Israel is something that's a little farther down the line. I think we're going to have the events of First Thessalonians 5:3, the sudden destruction, and then like the departure of the church in First Thessalonians chapter 4, 16 through 17. I think we're going to see that quite a while before this, but I could be wrong. Sit, sit. Okay, so now we'll go to the important part of this video. So I'll back it up a little bit. So the October 2nd eclipse happened. Let's go to my calendar here. Let's go back to, oh wow, that went fast. So we got October 2nd, 2024, the eclipse happened on a Wednesday. I was watching it on a live stream when it happened. It was incredible. But yeah, that happened on Wednesday. So remember that, middle of the week, Wednesday. So as the apple drops here, why are you crying? And it hits the floor and it rolls. It rolls over 21 tiles, or 22 tiles in total. So it rolls over 20 full tiles and then 21 full tiles and then 2 half tiles. So we can just assume or say that's 22 tiles that it traveled across. So the question is then, what do the tiles represent, as well as the passage of time? So initially I assumed that the passage of time, which is roughly 5 seconds, counted for months. So every second was a month. And then the tiles, 22, I counted for weeks. So we'll go to date calculator right now. Okay, this is calculating dates, not setting dates with women, but if only. So we'll put in October 2nd, 2024, and then we're going to go to, actually we'll add here, we're going to add 22 weeks. Actually, we'll start with the months here. We're going to add 5 months. So assuming the seconds counted for months, this takes us to March 2nd, 2025, which today is March 6th, 2025. So this is already passed. But given that we're looking at, let's go back. We're looking at tiles as in like, about like half a tile, or I think the first tile it touched looked like a quarter to a third. Let's see the apple drop there. Yeah, it was like half the tile. So my point is, like, we're looking at very like imprecise things. So I wouldn't put too much stock into how specific the date is. But yeah, now we're going to look at 22 weeks. So this takes us to March 5th. So still roughly around the same area. So again, it would make sense that we have 5 months and then 22 weeks. It would make sense. So we're going to go into, no, we'll go to Stellarium first here. We're going to go to Stellarium, and then we're going to go fast forward to March 5th. So we're going to go forward our 22 weeks. So March 5th, and we're on Mercury. So I'm going to zoom out a little here. So this is something I didn't notice quite at first. So if you'll notice over here, the apple splits open beside a C and a 7. So you're thinking, what could the C and the 7 represent? So I didn't realize that until I zoomed out here. So you have the constellation of Cetus here, right next to Pisces. So we're going to make the assumption that Cetus is just the C. We're going to take the first letter of that. So we got our C. And then you have Pisces, which looks like a perfect 7 almost. So there's our C and our 7. So that would make total sense if that was the passage of time that we're going to assume there. So that would be, quit making noises. That would definitely make a lot of sense. But I don't think this is correct, because I'll show you here. We'll just move forward in days, and you'll notice Mercury stays in here up until, it stays in here for a while actually. Okay, now we're in like the end of May, and it finally exits. So it spends a lot of time here, but I still don't think, let's just go back this way. I don't think weeks is the correct kind of like computation you're making here, because if I go back to my kind of like prediction of events, I think once this happens and these two happen, uh, most pretty much all bets are off the table for like a very long time. Like you have your sudden destruction of Mystery Babylon and like the departure of the church. So normal is going to take like a permanent departure, but you're not going to have any sense of order for quite a long time. So if it doesn't happen on the 7th, then I simply just don't think it's going to happen for quite a while after these events. So here's where I found what actually may happen. So we're going to back it up again to the October 2nd, October 2nd eclipse here. And this is going to take a while, but we're going to follow the journey of Mercury until it passes through 22 constellations. So if you can hear my dog crying in the back, he just wants me to end this video, so I'll try and be quick here. You'll notice if you watch the path of the apple over the tiles, it's not really rolling through like a full tile, so it doesn't seem like that would be like representing a week, as it's never like a complete passage of time. If it was a complete passage of time, it would just be rolling, say, like perfectly across these tiles. Then we could really make the assumption that it's like a solid marker of time, like a month or a week or something along the lines of that. But I actually think what they're showing you here is the constellations that the Mercury touches in its journey. So I'll show you exactly why here. But I think ultimately we're still going to land in that. Sorry, in that same constellation there, this between Cetus and Pisces. So I'll show you right now. So my counting may be a little imprecise here. I don't even remember. I've already done this once before, but I don't remember if I counted Virgo as one. So we'll add her in at the end if it doesn't work out. But we're gonna follow the journey of Mercury here, and we're gonna count the constellations it passes through. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, let's see, 20, 21, 22, 23. So I probably left out something, or I counted another constellation, which I didn't before. So we ended up at 23. And here we are, right back in Cetus. So we're right back in Cetus and Pisces here. So I believe that the tiles, instead of weeks, are going to represent constellations. So what are the chances that we follow the journey of Mercury through 22 constellations, and we still end up right back here at Cetus and Pisces? I combined the names, Cetus and Pisces. Like, what are the chances of that? Highly, highly unlikely. So even though I counted an extra one in that kind of journey, let's just, for the sake, remove one, and then we still have our 22. So, or even 21, because I was being very generous with the constellations we were passing through. So yeah, it's a very rough way of measuring things, but just the fact that after like roughly between 21 to 23, we still ended up back in Cetus and Pisces. I think we can give this the benefit of the doubt that this is actually, these tiles are representing constellations in terms of a passage of time. So even though I don't think that my weeks theory was correct, I think this is still going to be relevant to tribulation saints or anyone who's really in the tribulation, or after the church is removed. So I think after. So I should note the time here. So this is 2026 February 26. So late February 2026 next year. That's when you could have this event, which is like the true separation of Israel, and then the rise of the AC. So that's kind of how I see that playing out. As I noted earlier, once you have these events, any sort of order is off the table for a very long time. Because I think within here you're going to have the destruction of Damascus and a number of other prophecies that are just going to be strung together in this kind of time leading up until you get this sense of order, which will be like 11 to 12 months later. So even though this isn't relevant to like anyone who's currently watching this video, likely, I still think this is very interesting. And it also kind of lends to the point that like as believers, like even though the believers are most likely departing soon, we really should be leaving things for those who are left behind. Like for instance, I think like 70 USBs prepared at my house, along with like a contact list on each. So like I think as a believer, it's really almost your duty to leave things behind for those who are going to be in the tribulation, and just to help them as much as possible. Like I didn't have to make this video because this isn't relevant to me, but this is going to be relevant to someone. So once that 2026 February to early March rolls around and they see the division of Israel and then perhaps the rise of the AC, then they're like, oh, okay, this is exactly what this meant. And maybe that could lead them to other realizations within this video. But yeah, that's pretty well all I had to point out. Again, I'm still open to the possibility of being wrong on the constellation theory, and perhaps like tomorrow we'll see some crazy like deal made where Israel's divided or something along the lines of that. So again, this could be wrong, but like the way the enemy makes the videos is there's lies sprinkled in with the truth. Like I believe they have to tell you the truth. I think that's in a similar way to like the story of Job in the Bible. Job was not aware of the conditions when he was being tested. I think in a similar way, we're not aware of the conditions, although I believe one of them is that the enemy has to show you the truth, even though it's sprinkled with lies. And it's up to those with like a bit of wisdom to kind of discern the truth from the lies. So yeah, that's pretty well all I wanted to show in this video. And yeah, just prepare things for those who are left behind, because it's going to be very, very helpful to them. But yeah, thank you for watching anyway, and please like, share, subscribe, and as always, tell your friends. God bless. Take care.